Good morning, Patriots. Hopefully all of you had a lovely weekend. We're back on track, baby, with our normal programming that you're all used to, that we normally do. So it's good to see all of you in the live chat. Glad to be back with you, baby. We're back in the hot seat and we're ready to go. We're amped up, we're jacked up, and we got a lot of news to cover in the next hour. But if you could, make sure you check out baldbrad.com and you check out our merchandise. Ain't nobody else sponsoring us other than ourselves and maybe Rumble from time to time. We also have blogs. We also have a book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. Would love you to go over there, baldbrad.com, and make sure you check out all the goodies that we have over there for you. Also, a lot of stuff happening this week. One of the major things that is happening this week is Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin allegedly going to get together in Alaska to hopefully, a lot of people are praying for this. A lot of people want this, praying for peace between Russia and Ukraine. Now, we're going to go over the details right at the beginning here of the show, and then we're going to roll into a bunch of other stuff. But like I said, if you could support us by hitting that like button, it'd be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, here we go. We have Vladimir Putin. Make sure everybody can hear me okay. All right, we're good. Vladimir Putin says he'll end war with Ukraine with one major concession. Now, the concession that we keep saying time and time again for years, by the way, we've been saying this, year and a half, 2 years at this point. I think he invaded, was it 2022 or 2023? I can't even remember at this point. Maybe even 2024. Anywho, was that, look, Vladimir Zelensky, I don't see getting out of this without giving up any land. He has no cards. The cards he has are cards from other people. And what I mean by that is those cards are from America and now kind of from NATO. So Russian President Vladimir Putin told the Trump administration earlier this week that he would end the war with Ukraine in exchange for the region in eastern Ukraine known as Donbas. This does not even surprise me in the slightest. The Wall Street Journal cited European and Ukrainian officials who were briefed by Trump and his special envoy Steve Witkoff on discussions with Putin. Putin reportedly made the offer to Witkoff during their meeting in Moscow on Wednesday. Now, if Steve Witkoff was surprised, which I don't think he was, then there is a major problem with that. Russia wants full control of Ukraine's Donetsk, I think is how you pronounce it, in Luhansk regions. I'm probably butchering that. Along with the Crimean Peninsula that Russia annexed in 2014. Russian forces are now mostly in control of those regions, but Ukrainian troops are still fighting back in some areas in the regions. Now, here's my issue, and this is what I brought up on one of the TikTok videos is, okay, well, Putin invades Ukraine here. We give him what he wants. What's him stopping from doing this, say, under the next presidency, whoever it may be? Maybe it's J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. What's stopping him from continually doing this to where, okay, fine, I'll stop, but I'll take this next, I'm making something up, 100 miles, square miles, and then I'll stop. I promise I'm not going to do it again. Waits another 4 years. Oh, we're back at it. Here's Russia again invading Ukraine. Oh, well, I'll stop as long as I take some of this territory. And then after a while, you just have everything, and that's what you would have had in the first place. So that's kind of what I see here as an issue. Now, I'm not even sure it's something that could totally be stopped, to be fair. I mean, if that's what he's going to do, that's what he's going to do. And he has nuclear warheads. So what, are you going to go to war with him? You're going to go to war with NATO? He might. Unless you're kind of, the long game here would be wait until, Putin drops off, I suppose. So European officials told the Wall Street Journal that they were concerned over Putin's proposal, saying that it could be the Russian dictator's way of avoiding punishment from President Donald Trump, who is expecting to impose secondary tariffs on Russia. European leaders also questioned whether Putin would be willing to give up fighting for Ukraine's two regions, which are southwest of the ones that he wants. Trump announced on Friday that he would be meeting with Putin in Alaska this Friday. So we'll definitely, everybody's having eyes on that because that's one of the biggest news, hopefully, that's going to happen this week. And I say hopefully because, sometimes news is bad news and we don't want any of that. Good morning to all you too. I appreciate you joining me. I see y'all in the chat. God bless y'all. We also have Ukrainian territory negotiation on cards. Will Zelensky join Trump, Putin, Alaska talks? This just happened this morning. And what we have here is the U.S. ambassador to NATO provided a hint on whether Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will join Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska for peace talks. Now, remember, the initial meeting was just between Trump and Putin, but there were talks about maybe getting Vladimir Zelensky out there before Putin arrives and having conversations. Now, remember, because we know what Putin wants. Now, again, this shouldn't be even a surprise to Zelensky or anybody else. I would imagine the meeting would try to get Zelensky to cave on it and going, look, man, you ain't walking away with, this is probably the best deal you're going to get, is going to be my guess. Or you give up one of the two regions. For him going, look, we're not going to give up anything. There's no realm, at least, I could be wrong here. I'm just a freaking guy that sits behind a mic and a camera. But I don't think there's any realm, and you guys let me know what your thoughts are on this, if I'm right or wrong. I don't think there's any realm where Zelensky walks away with not losing land. I mean, I don't know what he has, to be honest. Do you guys? Do you guys know that he has something that I don't know? Meanwhile, European leaders pushed Kiev's inclusion ahead of talks between President Putin and Trump. So here's the latest. A U.S. official said Ukraine could be part of negotiations between the United States and Russia. When asked whether Zelensky might join Trump and Russian counterpart Putin on Friday, Ambassador Matthew Whitaker said, yes, I certainly think it's possible. What people are saying about this is, well, it's kind of messed up that Zelensky's not part of the meeting when it's, his country that's at war. That is true, but it's not his country that's really funding the war necessarily. There would be no war if we were the ones that weren't helping him. So if we're the ones that's giving him everything and keeping him afloat, you almost kind of like, look, if I'm the one that's paying for it, I'm the one that's going to negotiate it. Whitaker said the decision would ultimately be Trump's to make. If he thinks that is the best scenario to invite Zelensky, then he will do that. I'm not so sure it is. You kind of see how Zelensky acts right out there in the open in the Oval Office. It makes you wonder how this guy acts behind closed doors, and the whole negotiations could just be thrown right out the window right there on the spot within the first 5 minutes because the guy pops off and he's disrespectful. And looking at Putin, I don't know if Putin puts up with disrespect, let me tell you. The planned summit without Zelensky raised concerns that a deal would require Kiev to cede swaths of territory, with the European Union has rejected. Well, again, the European Union, I guess, doesn't get it either. I don't know what's going on with the other side of the world thinking that anybody's going to get out of this. The only person that's getting out of this in the upper hand is Russia. Unless Trump is some sort of miracle worker, then sure. But look, Trump's good. He ain't that good. Putin is stubborn. I think Trump's realizing that. So that's what you got going on. You got also a flurry of diplomacy. Zelensky held allegedly 13 calls with counterparts over 3 days, including Kiev's main backers, Germany, Britain, and France. This was also popping off. NATO Secretary Mark Rutte said this week's U.S.-Russian summit may open the door to negotiations about Ukrainian territory, even as Zelensky has continued to reject ceding land occupied by Russia. So now, could that all be a part of could this all be part of the 4D chess where Trump told Zelensky, hey, just keep saying that you're not going to give up territory. You're not going to keep giving up territory. And you don't seem like you're a pushover? Maybe. I don't know. But we'll keep you up to date on that. Again, that's the big meeting Friday. The hope is we can come out of Friday with some great news. But nobody's holding their breath with this, not even Trump. Remember, Trump would meet with Putin or have a phone call. And next thing you know, bombs are going off in Kiev. Just a double middle finger. Well, DC Drano posted this. Not even Ukraine wants Ukraine to keep fighting this war, negotiate for peace, Zelensky. So here we have it. Ukrainians lose appetite for war, support negotiated peace. What you have in the green here that's in a pretty sharp decline is % Ukraine should continue fighting until it wins the war. As you could see, I think it was February of 2022 was when he invaded. You have this about 70, we'll call it 73%. And then in just a span of a few years, now it's down to 24%. And then Ukraine should seek to negotiate an ending to the war. You see this is now up to almost 70%. So a complete inversion of the graph there, of the time series graph. So I think that says a lot about what the Ukrainian people want. And it's only going up, right? I mean, you'd imagine that in another year, it would go up to almost 80%. So we'll see. Now, I don't know what public perception is. Once, why don't you do a graph or a poll here on what does it look like knowing that you're going to have to give up 2 large swaths of territory? Well, at that point, these might come a little bit closer together. That's what you would expect, at least. Well, things are kind of crazy when Lindsey Graham is calling an end to the war. Lindsey Graham is known to push war. So everybody is like, what? What? This must be pretty bad then.
But I have every confidence in the world that the president is going to go to meet Putin from a position of strength, that he's going to look out for Europe and Ukrainian needs to end this war honorably, and it's time to end this war honorably. But how we do it will be historical, and I'm confident President Trump will get a good deal for all. But
there you go. I mean, he doesn't seem happy about it. He just doesn't seem excited. But that's Lindsey Graham for you. Again, NATO head backs meeting with Putin, says Trump broke the deadlock. So this is General Mark Root, who we just spoke of previously in our first article, voiced support on Sunday for President Trump's meeting with Putin. That's scheduled again for this Friday. He appeared on Face the Nation right here, and I believe we have that clip for all of you. Here we go.
Is, of course, as you know, among some critics, that in this conference room in Alaska, we're going to see a 1938 moment where, in an attempt to immediately halt a war, the groundwork is laid for an even bigger conflict because of concessions that are made. Are you comfortable with Ukraine being excluded from these negotiations on Friday?
What will happen on Friday is testing Putin by President Trump. And I commend him for the fact that he organized this meeting. I think it is important. And obviously, when it comes to peace talks, the ceasefire, and what happens after that on territories, on security guarantees for Ukraine, Ukraine will have to be and will be involved. But on Friday, it is important to see how serious Putin is. And the only one who can do that is President Trump. So it's really crucial that that meeting takes place. It will not be the final say on this. There will not be the final deal on this. Of course, Ukraine will have to be involved in Europe. But it is important to start the next phase of this process, putting pressure on the Russians, exactly as President Trump has been doing over the last 6 months.
I'm telling you, it'd be incredible if he could pull it off. It really would be incredible because the guy's already solved multiple wars. What is he on his 5th or 6th one? I think the 6th one might have been Armenia. I mean, it's 5 or 6 now the guy has solved. It's really incredible. So if he gets this finalized, I mean, you're really just looking at the Israel-Gaza conflict. And at that point, I'm not saying there's not any wars going on around the world, but I mean, you have as much peace as we've probably had in our lifetimes, I would say. Pretty incredible. Well, speaking of Israel and Gaza, Benjamin Netanyahu defends planned military offensive in Gaza. Our goal is to free Gaza. I mean, people keep saying free Palestine. So he says our goal is not to occupy Gaza. Well, that's interesting. We have here Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday defended Israel's planned military offensive in Gaza. He said that Israel has no choice but to finish the job and complete the defeat of Hamas, emphasizing the goal is to free Gaza. Our goal is not to occupy Gaza. Our goal is to free it. He also said Israel intends to demilitarize Gaza and take overriding security control there, as well as install a non-Israeli civilian administration. Netanyahu also said he has taken steps to bring in more foreign journalists to cover the developments, which the Associated Press noted has been far limited to military embeds. So we'll see what comes of it. Remember that I don't think Israel has occupied Gaza since like 2004, 2005. So 20 years, 2 decades has been under the control of pretty much somebody else. So, I mean, I know it's always easy to blame the Jews for everything, but at some point, like I mentioned, you do have to blame yourself for a certain type of outcome. And I'm not talking about the outcome after October 7th. I'm talking about what took place before. But it's always easy to blame somebody else because then you don't have to blame yourself. And, well, life is just easier at that point. All right, and moving into some other news, billionaire Democratic Governor Pritzker, you're going to love this one, defends his wealth as party rails against the rich. Now, you're seeing a lot of this railing against the rich for quite some time. You know, kind of the front runner would be like Bernie Sanders, AOC, anybody in the squad, but most notably who's running for mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. Now, Pritzker was pressed by NBC Kristen Welker on billionaire status as other members of the Democrat Party, including New York City mayor candidate Zohran Mamdani, there you go, continue to rail against billionaires. Some in your party are openly questioning whether billionaires such as yourself should exist at all, Governor, Welker said before she played a clip of Mamdani saying the United States shouldn't have billionaires. Isn't it a wild thing to say? That, well, you accrued all this money, so you shouldn't even be at that status, so we're just going to take the money from you. I mean, that's the only way of doing it, right? Is at some point, by force, you would have to stop somebody from getting the billionaire status. Me and my wife were talking about this over the weekend. I think it was Saturday or Sunday. We were driving around because I go back to work starting the day. And I asked her, I said, what's people's beef with people being rich? I told her, I said, you know, hand to God, I never understood it. Why do people dislike the rich so much? I mean, isn't that what we want for each other? Isn't that not the goal for everybody, but you understand what I mean? Isn't that like what you would want is for your kids to be rich, like well off? And so I never understood that. It's like you finally worked your butt off. You did everything right, which usually it takes a series or a sequence of good decisions to get to that type of status and a certain mindset. Wouldn't you be excited for your loved ones to become a millionaire or a billionaire? I mean, that's the goal that we would all are achieving. Aren't we all always trying to make more money for the most part? I never understood it. Shouldn't we be like high-fiving the person that became rich? Like, hey, man, that's great. I'm not saying there aren't a-holes that are rich. That's not what I'm saying. I never understood that at what point does that person go from being like, let's say, middle class to rich, and now they're a bad person? Like, for example, let's say this. You guys know me. I do this show out of a closet. But let's just say one day, it's always been the goal of the show. I've always been open, right? To be able to do it full time, to be able to make good money off this and live like a lavish lifestyle. That would be cool. That'd be cool. Like a Benny Johnson or something like that, right? Just raking in the dough. You know, Dan Bongino, multimillionaire, going to UFC events, sitting eating meals with the president. My hope would be that you don't go, oh, well, look at that guy. Oh, that guy. Well, what an a-hole now. Oh, look at Brad. You know, whoa. Like, you know what I mean? Like the hope is like, the guy made it. I watched him since the beginning. This is a true one. You know what? He deserves it. The guy busted his butt for years, and we were there with him every step of the way. I couldn't be more proud of him, and that I'm still going to support the guy and watch him. I never understood that logic with people that want to go against people that finally made it. Anyways, he says this. Look, how much money you have doesn't determine what your values are. Correct. I actually agree with that. And I'm Democrat because I believe that everyone deserves health care. Don't agree with that. I don't think you deserve really anything other than the rights that are passed down to you. Do I want you to have health care? Absolutely. I'm a Democrat because I believe we've got to fund education and have a public education available to every kid in this country. Well, public education is available to every kid in this country. If you want to fund education, then why don't you? Because teachers make like $30,000 in some states. It's crazy. There's certain areas, just so you know, there's certain areas and districts that as an intern, you can get paid more than somebody with a master's degree in education. It's like the whole salary thing in education is completely screwed up. It should never be based on the amount of years of service. To me, that's so insane that you're going to be paid. You're going to get a bump in pay just because you were another year in education. It should be based on merit. It should be based on how good are you as a teacher. And that should always be what it's about. But everything's socialized in education. I believe that we have to stand up for our democracy and against MAGA Republicans who are literally trying to take away people's rights in this country, but can't tell you any rights that are being taken care of. This is what they do, and they've been doing it constantly, right? You're a threat to democracy. You're a threat to the country. You're going to destroy the Constitution. Doesn't list out any examples here. It does not matter what your income level is. What matters is your values, and that's what makes me a Democrat. What an idiot. The guy's just head is so far up as you know what. Well, we got a clip of him here. Where is he? Pritzker. Yeah. Check this out. So they're talking about gerrymandering. And well, here's your question. Here's his answer. Just listen to it.
Every major group that grades the fairness of congressional maps gives your state an F. Common Cause, a nonpartisan government watchdog, even says your map, and I'm going to quote, represents a nearly perfect model for everything that can go wrong with redistricting. And I guess the question is, you talk about preserving democracy. How do you preserve democracy if you're using the same tactics that you've criticized Texas Republicans for?
Good question.
But as I say, what they're talking about is a distraction. The reality is that the violation of people's voting rights is what Texas is attempting to do. That's what's wrong with their efforts right now. And the fact that the president of the United States knows it and nevertheless is asking them to do it. That is what's wrong with what we're seeing right now. Democracy is at stake.
Every major group that
said absolutely nothing. Republicans are democracy's at stake. Oh yeah, everything. I mean, how many years have we heard that democracy's at stake? The only time democracy was at stake was I don't know. How about you guys putting forth a front runner with absolutely no votes, meaning Kamala Harris? You all know democracy at stake is when you use the FBI, the NSA, the CIA, all the three-letter agencies to draft an ICA report that's completely fabricated, that's based off a tabloid magazine, and go after your political opponent and completely fabricate it with the backing of the president of the United States, meaning Barack Obama. I would say that's probably a bigger threat to democracy than anything else when you have your agencies fabricating fake intelligence about a freaking incoming president and then a current president and doing all these investigations that are chalked up on a bunch of BS. Yeah, I would say that's a threat to democracy. So speaking of gerrymandering, here's another one. Eric Holder, who I believe Eric Holder is the wingman, is what he said himself. He's the wingman of Barack Obama. This was Barack Obama's former attorney general. The guy's a nut job, by the way. Completely corrupt dude. If there's a great book by Ben Shapiro called The People vs. Barack Obama, highly recommend you read it. And you're going to see that this guy basically took the fall for Barack Obama on a lot of stuff and just straight up lied about things. Oh, we don't have the emails about certain items. Yeah, we do. So you lied about that. I meant this. Oh, sure you did, bud. He's a liar, dude. This guy's scum.
Ask you, how can gerrymandering both be a threat to democracy and also the way to save it?
Well, there's no question that gerrymandering is a threat to our democracy. It allows politicians to pick their voters as opposed to citizens choosing their representatives.
Folks, this guy was literally he said it, he's the wingman of Barack Obama. Barack Obama's from Illinois, folks, who is the one that's known to do this type of work. And we showed this last week.
But we are now in a situation where we find ourselves where authoritarian moves are being made by the White House through various states, Texas most prominent among them, and there has to be a response to that. What I've said is that we have to protect our democracy now if we ultimately want to be able to save it. And so taking the reasonable steps that have been proposed in California, I think it makes a great deal of sense in this moment, a temporary way in which to respond to that which is happening in Texas, with the thought that after this crisis has passed, we get back to the fight against gerrymandering by anybody.
Let me ask you.
Isn't it wild, knowing what you know now regarding the ICA report, regarding the coup that they tried to pull with Donald Trump with the Russia collusion hoax that was legitimately a hoax? He's going to have the cojones to come out and say that the current administration is authoritarian. I hate to tell you, man, as far as government goes in the United States, we've had some pretty crazy things happen. You have some big cojones to say that the current administration is authoritarian compared to what you guys did. Hello? This guy dropped more bombs. I'm not saying that's authoritarian, but this guy dropped more bombs, or at least working with the guy that did, than anybody else. This guy utilized three-letter agencies with the Obama administration to go after Donald Trump. It's just a remarkable thing. Let's go to the chat here. Let's see here. The redistrict is run by Eric Holder. The 990 form they filed with the IRS says their mission is to, quote, favorably position Democrats for the redistricting process. He wants to gerrymander every state like Democrats have in Illinois. He is now a political hack. Correct. Thank you, Scott Walker. Here's the receipts for you, you Democrats. For some reason, they can't wrap it around their head. Oh, Trump's authoritarian. The guy's this. You had a guy lie straight to your face right here on camera. Right here on camera. Give me a break. Unbelievable. Oh, where's it at right here? Brief describe the organization's mission. Favorably position Democrats for the redistricting process. Yeah. Holder's hypocrisy knows no bounds. Oh, of course not. He was like that when he's attorney general. The guy, look, I haven't even read that. I haven't seen the clip yet. I hadn't read any articles on it. This guy I've just known is scum, man. He's terrible. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Remember, this guy worked with the administration that gave people firearms. Firearms. You guys remember the Fast and Furious case? They gave them firearms like the cartel. And so the idea was, well, once they commit a crime and delete somebody, well, we can trace that gun back to who sold it to them, and we'll be able to give them real sort of punishment. Freaking idiots. Bunch of idiots, man. I'm so glad they're out of office. Just god-awful. God-awful. Barack Obama's administration was one of the worst in history. And don't just take that from me as a white guy. Thomas Sowell, who's a black guy, even says he's the worst president in American history based on his deals. When Thomas Sowell starts stepping in, the economist, the great, and one of my most beloved, he's my number one guy, you know things are a problem. Quote, we want our capital back. Trump gives preview on Monday press conference. This is happening right now, by the way. There's a press conference going on. Don't you turn away from me. I need you here. But tune in when that press conference is done. I'll make sure at the end of the show to update you on what exactly took place, because he might federalize some things in D.C. So President Donald Trump gave a preview on Sunday of a planned Monday press conference that he said was aimed at addressing several of the major public safety issues currently plaguing Washington, D.C. And Trump's just had enough of it. I mean, it's dangerous. On Monday, a press conference will be held, which is today, essentially stop violent crime in Washington, D.C. It has become one of the most dangerous cities anywhere in the world. It will soon be one of the safest. Isn't it amazing that here in the United States, we're the wealthiest country on earth, and we can't even protect our own citizen, which is one of the main functions of government, by the way. So it makes you wonder what these politicians are even doing. This has been something that's been going on since Barack Obama's time. There's been times where places haven't been safe, don't get me wrong. But in terms of the denigration of the law enforcement, looking down on them, trying to change public perception of how terrible cops are, all that stuff, why would you even want to be a cop? I know at one point when I was growing up, I wanted to be a police officer. My dad actually turned me away from wanting to do that because it was a dangerous job. And even at that point, you had the LA riots back then, all this other stuff. He said, look, people don't like cops. They'll just come up and delete you while you're sitting in your squad car. It ain't worth it. Go do something else. Be a firefighter. People love firefighters. Or go do something else in the private sector, which is why I became an accountant. He says this, we're having a news conference tomorrow in the White House. I'm going to make our Capitol safer and more beautiful than ever it was before. The homeless have to move out immediately. We will give you places to stay, but far from the Capitol. The criminals, you have to move out. We're going to put you in jail where you belong. It's all going to happen very fast, just like the border. We went from millions pouring in to zero in the last few months. This will be easier. Be prepared. There will be no Mr. Nice Guy. We want our Capitol back. Thank you for your attention to this matter. That's all. I mean, it's amazing what can be done when you have consequences and you actually put out enforcement that are going to enforce the bad behavior and have consequences that are attributed to it. You just going out and having law enforcement arresting people, putting them in jail, and then they come out with no cash bail like we had in the state of California does not stop the problem whatsoever. You need to have actual penalties for this where they're behind bars for a long time so that when you keep them off the streets, your kids are a lot safer. They can go out and bike around. How many times have you talked to somebody? I know I have many of times where they say, hey, I would love to find a place where my kid can go ride their bike, or they can go play and I don't have to worry about them. When we all grew up, I mean, it's that cliche, hey, come back when the street lights turn on. Your parents didn't know where the hell you were the majority of the day. You left in the morning with your buddies and you came back when the lights came on. And when you didn't, you go, oh, I'm in trouble. I'm about to get a whooping because I was supposed to be back when the lights turned on. No cell phone, maybe payphone, maybe. Other than that, your parents legitimately didn't know where you were all day long, sometimes multiple days, right? Because you'd go over your buddy's house and you would stay there for like 3 days. And then you come home and your parents barely said hi to you. They didn't even know you're back. Your parents wanted you at the house. That's the thing. Yeah, go, fine, because you're out of their hair, right? Nothing to worry about, and hopefully you're a good kid. But I mean, you got in trouble at times, right? Now you got to worry about a homeless guy or somebody, there's so many illegals here, some guy trafficking your kid now. I don't blame you for not wanting your kid to go out. Please understand that. I'm not blaming you. I totally understand it. It's just not safe out there anymore because that's what Democrats have done. That's what our politicians have done. This is what we've created. We need to bring our country back. We need to take our country back is what we need to do. And Donald Trump's the one that can put America first. He is, whether you like it or not. We did a quick video on this. We're not going to spend too much time on this. I just want to give an update. I mean, this is like a full circle moment for us and Gina Carano, and I'll explain why. So Gina Carano, if you don't remember, was ousted by Disney for a Twitter post that she made. Yes, that is correct. A Twitter post. She was literally taken off Disney. And so I started my show because of that. My first episode I ever did, which we showed, I think it was last week or whatever on Dark Mag, it was really cringy. And I said, look, this is what happened to Gina Carano. And if they're going to just start coming after us for us just posting meaningless things online, then I might as well just do the show I want to do because it doesn't matter. At some point, your employer is going to fire you anyways at some point. Everybody has social media. Everybody posts things online. Then it's just statistically, it's a matter of time before you post something that they don't like. And it doesn't have to be anything nefarious whatsoever. They just don't like it because they read into it wrong or they thought about it differently than you did or whatever it may be. And because you did that, oh, well, we're going to go ahead and terminate you now. We're going to let you go. Well, at that point, then you might as well just go do what you want to do in life because it's just a matter of a time game at that point. They're not going to like something you said. Wow. Whatever happened to sticks and stones could break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Whatever happened to that saying? But it's a remarkable thing, is it not, that we live in a time frame where it's you have to watch every little thing that you say, and there's like no freedom of speech anymore. So you can't even have a life outside your employer who you work with whatsoever. It's unbelievable. So Anti-Woke Voices shared a social media saying when sanity returns to culture, be it acknowledging the sex sells in ads or proof that cancel culture is on the run, nature is healing. And I do agree with this, by the way. That rings true regarding the saga of Gina Carano, the MMA standout turned action heroine, hero, had it all. She had a great career on The Mandalorian. Then Disney fired her for her problematic social media post, even though other people at the time were posting way worse stuff working for Disney. And Gina Carano settled her lawsuit against Disney with the suggestion that the two sides might work together on future projects, which is a lot of people are hinting at maybe bringing back her for the Mandalorian movie. She didn't land a knockout legal blow, but staring down arguably the biggest company in Hollywood proved a victory all the same. You know, mind you, she did have the backing of Elon Musk and others to help, which is obviously a big thing. But anyways, good for her. Big win. She deserves nothing but the utmost success, and I couldn't be happier for her. And the hope is that a little bit of that maybe shines a little bit on us here, and we can keep the ball rolling with the Bald Brad Show. So here's her post. Beep, bop, boop has 0 to do with mocking trans people and 100 to do with exposing the bullying mentality of the mob that has taken over the voices of many genuine cases. I want people to know that you can take hate with a smile, so boop you for misunderstanding. Now, this was a post back in 2020, and obviously people, lost their minds over it. To me, it's a bunch of words. And by the way, if you don't like it, guess what you can do? Watch what I do. If you don't like it, this is exactly what you can do. Oh, moved past it. Gee, in the same way, if you don't like the Bald Brad Show, guess what you could do? You could turn away from it. It's an amazing thing. Just believe it or not, you have control of what you get to see and not see. In some respect. Now, when the left had, meaning the progressives, had majority of entertainment, it was really hard to do that because you turn the station, oh, another trans person. You turn the station, oh, another trans person. I mean, you go to school, another trans person, or LGBTQ stuff being thrown down your throat. Oh, okay, fine. I'm going to read a book, another trans person. It's like no matter which way you look, you're getting hit in all corners. Ridiculous. Well, speaking of the LGBTQ plus alphabet soup community, a Texas mayor was caught on video using disturbing language, berating a Christian preacher at an LGBT festival video show. So I have the video here. I have not seen it yet. So I don't know what to show. So language. That's not good. That is not a good. You're an adult. You're a grown man. Now, a lot of people on the show will look at my rants and me being angry. I always have to tell people 99% of the time I'm in a great mood. When I say, oh, I'm getting pissed or I'm getting mad, I'm getting frustrated on the show, please understand that's build up mostly for entertainment purposes. I've always been open about that. Always been open. If that's news to you, you have not been paying attention to the show for the last 4 years. My bigness, this and moving around and rants and stuff like that is to build and make entertainment. Okay? Entertainment. Because that's not my personality. I've shared that many of times. I am not a hothead. I don't snap like that. And I've mentioned the only time I go from 0 to 100 is if somebody threatens my family. That's pretty much it. That's literally it. Other than that, I pretty much don't ever get mad. And everybody around me would vouch for that. I never do stuff like this. I don't think I've ever done anything like this in my life. Maybe at hockey, you know what I mean? When you're going up against an opponent or something like that and you're about to fight the guy. But this is crazy. And the reason why I want to point that out is because I don't like, or I try not to be a hypocrite. This is not somebody that you would want to be around or even have you leading. So this individual is a mayor of Arlington, Texas, targeted the preacher during an LGBT event. The shocking moments were captured by Vice, though Ross's face is blurred and the footage has just now been uncovered. Well, of course, because he's probably a Democrat is what I'm guessing. Even if he's a Republican, not a good thing still. So he obviously said some crazy stuff there. And that's not somebody that you want leading because, well, that's a person that's driving entirety off of your emotions rather than off logic and reasoning. And when things hit the fan, like a natural disaster, you don't want somebody basing their decisions off of emotion. You want them basing it off logic and reasoning. So this guy has some pretty nasty issues here. It looks like in 2023, he defended the forums during the NAACP event. You have to have a black advisory council because, folks, black people are not the same. Did you all know that? He said, according to Kara News. Latinos are not the same. Asians are not the same. Okay. Well, anyways, that happened with that guy. Totally just crazy dude. Psycho. Could be drunk for all I know, but not sure. We got updates here with Cindy Sweeney's brother. Now, Cindy Sweeney is the one that did the jeans ad that had the progressives just completely out of their minds and just. I think what happens is they put their pigtails in too tight and it's so tight. And when you combine that with wearing underwear that doesn't fit, it restricts blood flow to all extremities at that point, and you just don't think clearly. And you act out and you act irrational, just like that mayor was. Well, he celebrates Air Force promotion with good genes crack. So Trent Sweeney, the brother of actress Sydney Sweeney, celebrated a promotion he received with the United States Air Force with a crack about good genes, a reference to an ad featuring his sister that gained the media, took over the media big time. On Thursday, Trent posted the Instagram stories about recently earning his promotion to staff sergeant. In the story, Trent quipped, "It's them good genes," according to a screenshot. That's hilarious, by the way. I love that. So here's the post itself. I know it's really tiny. Doesn't matter. It's him on audio. They're in a camo. There's 3 guys. He's in the middle, and it looks like he's holding his promotion right there. I'm excited for the next step in my career, and thank you to everyone that's been a part of it so far. His sister liked the post. Good for him. And you know what? That's a way. I think that's a very crafty way of you supporting your sister on social media. You're being promoted. She's basically been promoted, by the way. If you think that she's not going to get any roles or work, you got to be kidding me. If anything, when your stock goes up 20%, folks, you're getting work big time. A lot of phone calls are probably going off right now trying to get her in some great TV show or movie or another ad because it's popping off for her right now. And good for her. Single-handedly bringing America back. She's gorgeous. She's talented. And look, does she do things on film that I'm not exactly for necessarily? Sure, like her showing her boobies or something like that. But I mean, I like it, but it's not exactly, you wouldn't want your kids to see is what I'm saying. All righty. Well, speaking of showing some things, We're going to show you Pete Buttigieg. Well, poll numbers are not good. It's actually pretty amazing. It's remarkable, some would say. Just give me a moment for it. I'm laughing in people's ears and I apologize. The title of this is so wild. You're not going to believe it. Pete Buttigieg, a booty, polls a literal 0 with black voters. And Bill Maher wants answers. So comedian and HBO host Bill Maher demanded answers when he discovered that former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who ran for a Democratic presidential nomination in 2020 and garnered a sizable chunk of the party's support in 2020, was getting no love from black voters. So here we go.
Democratic primary voters, 16% would support Buttigieg. That's the highest of any candidate. Pete Buttigieg.
I don't believe it. I think that's just a poll number. I can't see that happening.
Well, okay, but wait. 16%. Black voters, 0. 0. You don't usually see 0 anywhere. 0's low.
For who? What is this?
For Buttigieg. Explain that. I mean, why do black voters have this? I mean, he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's under-indexing a little bit with black voters, yeah.
A little? What is that all about?
He doesn't move us. I respect the man. I've interviewed him before. Very nice man, highly intelligent. But you gotta be able to move us, bruh. He doesn't move us. Well, you can speculate as to why that is. I'm not going there. He doesn't move us.
Democrat.
This is why I will never run for any sort of office. I don't think like that. And what I'm saying is he doesn't move us. If I was ever a politician and I was running, I'm not in the business of treating races differently than one another. That's not what I'm doing. I'm there to treat everybody equally. Now I hound Democrats because I think they're knuckleheads on some things. Look, I think Republicans are knuckleheads on some things. I'm a knucklehead on some things. But just because you're black, I'm not going to start catering to you because you're black. In the same way, I'm not going to do that with Hispanics or Asians or anybody. Now, that's not how identity politics works. And that's kind of what the mainstream type of politics is, well, what can you do for these types of people? I think that's insane, by the way. I don't like that one bit. And that's not how I roll. You are given opportunities as everybody else. You might be given a certain hand, and sometimes that hand is suckier than other people. Welcome to life. I wish it wasn't the case. I really don't. But you are still given an opportunity. Then opportunity is life within itself to pull yourself up, get out. Like, let's say you're in a really terrible area. Okay. You could still do good in education. There's nothing stopping you from doing well in education other than maybe the classroom itself, which I get. But you'd have to work harder than, say, somebody else that's maybe 30 miles south of you that's in a nice area, like, say, Orange County. They have the same textbook. They're going to have it a lot easier than you. Absolutely. Welcome to life. There's a lot of people that have it easier than me. There's a lot of people that have it harder than me. So what am I going to do? Look, you can always find somebody that has something harder than you. So what are you going to do? Just keep pointing at that person? Oh, well, that guy has it easier than me. So because that guy has it easier than me, woe me, woe me, woe me. What are you going to do for me now, government? Like, what? By the way, the vast majority of the world has it a lot harder than most people in this country. Most people in this country. Anyways, let's move on here. F the rules. Beto goes off the rails, says Democrats will win whatever it takes. Oh, really? Well, here he is. This guy's back. This skateboard guy.
Going to let him stop us. Are you with me on that? Ándale. It also means, as Mark was saying earlier, we don't await the punch thrown. by these would-be fascists to land. We punch first and we punch harder. We want California and New Jersey and Illinois and Maryland and every other state where the Democrats hold the governor's mansion, the assembly, and the state senate to redraw their congressional districts now, not wait for Texas to move first, to maximize Democratic Party advantage. Listen, you may say to yourself, well, those aren't the rules. There are no refs in this game. Fuck the rules. We are going to win whatever it takes. We're going to take this to them in every way that we can.
Just for a moment, imagine if Donald Trump said that, F the rules, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. And some people might go, well, isn't that what he did in Georgia? Well, if that's the case, let's just say that's what happened in Georgia. Let's play into their hand. Let's give them it. Well, if you're okay with what's on your screen here, what's the problem with what Donald Trump did? If you're willing to do whatever it takes, F the rules, Dems will win whatever it takes. Well, then if you don't have a problem with this, then why do you have a problem with what Trump did? Allegedly. Weird. Really weird how that kind of all works out, huh? Just really quickly here, because I want to get to the breaking news, because I actually want to find out what's going on with Trump in Washington, D.C. States implement cell phone bans. This is something we've covered. I've been advocating for this ever since I became a teacher, because I've just seen the detriment. Folks, if you're not, I'm just going to tell you straight up, if you're not monitoring your kid on his phone or her phone, you're out of your mind. You are, somebody has to tell you, you're out of your mind. I'm trying not to cuss, and I'm trying to put into words what I've observed over years, and I've taught thousands at this point. It's effed up. It's you don't, and the sad thing is they actually know it, because I have seniors, so I talk to them. I don't think Americans realize, I think some of them do, the extent of how damaging social media and cell phones have been to your kids. And I'm please understand, I'm not just even talking about education. You, by giving your kid a phone, you basically screwed up your kid. And and I'm not saying it's an easy thing. I'm not saying, well, Brad, you don't have kids. I don't. But I've talked to a lot of parents, and a lot of them say, I'm trying to get them to make sure that they're not an iPad kid, or I'm trying to make sure that they don't have a phone too soon, and all these other things. It always blows my mind, because you still have prepaid phones. It's always amazing how these parents go, well, these kids need their phones in schools because there might be a school shooting. You're more likely to get deleted on your way to school than you are actually in a school shooting. You're more likely to be struck by lightning indoors than you are to be in a school shooting. It's crazy to me. And by the way, if it's that big of an issue, you can get a prepaid phone. That's the first phone I ever had in high school was a prepaid phone. And I think it was an Ericsson phone. Prepaid. There you go. If there's an emergency, here's a prepaid phone. It's not a flip phone. It's nothing. It's just a brick phone. You can still get them to this day. And call me on this if there's an emergency. You can still text, by the way. It's going to run out. It's for emergencies only. I wouldn't do it. So several states, Texas and Florida, have implemented strict bans on cell phones in schools to reduce distractions and improve student focus. Here's a teacher that's been teaching basically as long as me. And here's what he said.
My school, my state, banned the phones. Banned the phones. Today, all of my students, 100% of them, took notes in my class, did their assignment, asked for help when they got stuck, and turned it in. And then when they were done, they talked to each other. Was it this easy the whole time? I have been pulling my hair out for like 8 years. Has it been this easy of a solution the whole time? My school.
A lot of people are saying, yeah, it was that easy. By the way, this guy's going viral. I saw him on TikTok, and then I saw this trending late last night. Everybody's posting it. Now we'll see the long term. This is short term effects, right? This just happened. School year just started. But I mean, it could be just that easy. I mean, it is sad to see just what has happened to these kids and how we are messing them up royally, dude, by giving them these phones. It's so sad to watch. And the thing is, if you so here's the thing that I do is I have everybody open up their app, their phone in class, because I'm statistics, and say I'll say, okay, you need to give me your screen time, and we'll go around. We'll take the average screen time. I've been doing it for years. It's high, by the way, very high, hours and hours. Did you know these kids are getting hundreds and hundreds, not like 300, not like 400, hundreds of messages a day? Have your kid leave their phone at home and come back and see, and just ask them how many messages they received. Most of them are using Snapchat now. They don't use text messages. They're not really using Instagram. Their main hub now is Snapchat. You will fall over in your chair. It's not uncommon for them to receive 1,000 messages a day. 1,000. You handle that. Get 1,000 emails alone. I can ban cell phones in my class. I don't do it though, because they need to know how to navigate that road for college. And my job is to prepare them for college. So they're not allowed to have cell phones while I'm lecturing, and they're not allowed to have earphones when I'm lecturing. But the second I'm done, then when they're doing their I give them class time to do homework and stuff, they can work on it in there. Trump considers deploying National Guard troop to DC ahead of news conference. So that's not any updates for me. I thought he was giving the updates. 5-minute read. Is this what it is? Trump is threatening to federalize. We already know that.
Now, what would you say are some of the most important skills?
Let me see if there's any updates here on. He was supposed to have a press conference. Maybe he didn't have it yet, I'm guessing. Let's see here. Give me one moment. I'm trying to see if maybe there's an update with this DC stuff. Yeah, I don't mind them as long as they're not abusing it to utilize cell phones in the classroom. But here's the thing. If it's a law, you can't even do that. So even if I wanted to let them use phones, you can't do that as a teacher. So and it's funny because people are like, well, can't the teacher just break the rules? No, not if it's a law. You can't. And by the way, people forget that teachers are licensed through the state. So it's a state thing. So sorry, I'm not going to lose. I worked hard for a teacher credential. I'm not going to lose it because your kid wants to have a phone. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. I pay my bills. You don't. Well, I pay your salary. Is that pennies? I always say this. If anybody ever throws it at me, I first ask them, how much do you think that you specifically pay me? And that I will give you your money back. You want to know why? Because if you actually break it down, it's like a penny or two. I will give you a penalty. I will give you your money back. Here you go. By the way, even when in the private sector, if a parent ever goes, oh, well, I pay your salary. Cool. How much do you think that you owe me? How much do you think that you pay me? Like, because I've actually broken down the number. I know how much each parent pays me individually. I will more than happy. If you want to end this conversation now, I will give you your money back. I will actually give you your money back because it's basically lunch money. It's like, they don't know what to say. Not that I've ever had to say that to anybody, but anyways, I don't have any updates here regarding Trump. Forgive me. There is a press conference happening, but it's going to begin shortly. So if you want to head over to Trump's press conference and watch that, that should be taking place right now. Again, here's the here it is right here. So it's going to be happening pretty much when I'm probably done going live because it started about 15 minutes ago. So they'll be unraveling that out with Trump talking about what's he's going to do in Washington, D.C. Appreciate you guys. I got a hard out at 7 o'clock going back to work. Take care of one another. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. It's just I have this week just with staff. It's just a staff week. Next week is when students return, but hoping for a good school year, hoping for another successful, I guess, season of the Bald Brad Show. Now that we're getting back into the mix of things. Thank you to everybody that always shows kindness. Oh, by the way, really quick, we do have some donations that I want to read that went through the website. I got to be more on top of this. So we have here, give me one moment, please. Here we go. We had a donation from Cheryl. Thank you so much from the website. I don't know if people want me to read out how much it was, but thank you for the donation. Greatly appreciate that. It's a one-time donation. Thank you so much, Cheryl. God bless you. Longtime supporter of the Bald Brad Show. Definitely know that name. And then we have Keith with a one-time donation as well coming through the website. Thank you so much for using Squarespace, baldbrad.com to give your one-time donation. Remember, we get 97% of those proceeds, where YouTube takes 30%. Okay, again, YouTube takes 30% of your money. I would rather you go through my website if you're going to join the show. I know you guys want your badges and stuff like that. I'm trying to find a way if I could still give you a badge or a membership if you're going through my website or something like that. So I got to figure that out, but I don't think that's possible. But thank you to everybody. Like C-Dog has gone through the website. Shout out to Jerry. Jerry is a monthly contributor to the website. I know Karen does donations through the website as well. Again, there's a good amount of people that have been doing that through the website because they want more of their money to go to me rather than the the communists over at YouTube. So with that being said, thank you everybody. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow here on the Bo Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.